My buddy Dash for this episode of Double Take. Dave, I just said joined by Dash, but we're joined by Dash
Talking
and
in
Dave.
the third person. That's so
person.
weird.
The way you feel.
Hey everybody, welcome. Happy Wednesday, and you know it's Wednesday at 5:30, so you know what that means. And someone says, "Jesus, the boys are on time today."
We're always on time.
We're always on time. We never delay a start. Come on,
talking
that hurts my feelings. How dare
And
you?
if we've never been late more than 5 minutes, anyways. That happened once. So
I know that was one time.
Yeah.
One time. But anyways, before we segue even further along, hey everybody, welcome. This is a little bit of a special, right? Because we've got Roma Salernitana. I just watched Roma. We got Salernitana pregame, and we also have the tinfoil hat. So we've got some shenanigans and we got some pregame. So for the pregame stands, we'll cover the pregame quite briefly. I want to say the opening show, and then we'll kind of kick it off to the tinfoil hat right after. So we'll segue. So you get a little bit of a double feature, 2 shows in one. Dave, how are you, buddy?
Doing well, thank you. Yeah, we got a busy few days ahead of us. Doubleheader with Salernitana, Coppa, and then league play. So it'll be fun. Parts of this will be a bridge to the sense that we have to readdress it twice in a matter of 3-4 days, right? So we'll try not to overdo the Salernitana stuff at the same time, but it must be said, we'll bang that out. We'll go through our midterm report cards and get into some tinfoil stuff. Otherwise, housekeeping, like and subscribe, smash all those buttons, join the Discord if you want. Things are firing off all over the place there. I believe they're organizing some FC clubs tonight as well. So scan barcode, hit that link down in the description. Either way, join in. Dash, you brought in some friends last night too, didn't you?
I did. Yeah, I know it was just after a match, and they're like, "Hey, you want to play Pro Clubs?" I'm like, "Well, I mean, our team needs a little bit of love." So I was like, "Hey, you guys want to grind out a couple of matches?" We did, and everybody's like, "Dash played without us. How dare he?" He's getting absolutely harassed in the chat.
Oh man, that's funny. That's funny. So yeah, I mean, things are good. We got a busy show. So let's not dwell too much. Dash, let's bash away at the Salernitana Coppa Italia.
Yeah, it was a little bit of a interesting Coppa Italia day today. Atalanta handily dealing with Sassuolo, and then Cremonese almost pulled it off. They almost pulled it off, but never fear, Lukaku is here.
Lukaku's goal was nice, but that penalty was needless.
Devious, but hey, at least Dybala knows how to score him, unlike someone else on the... Ooh, that's right, Dave. You told me to do the thing. The 2/3. There we go. Bam. Full screen. Haha, I learned something new. All right. So Juve looking for a record-extending 15th Cup success. Massimiliano Allegri is determined to lead Juventus to another Coppa Italia success. Juve, the competition's most successful side with 14 titles, are favorites to lift the trophy after holders Inter Milan and the Serie A champions Napoli were both knocked out. Standing in Juve's way of the quarterfinal tie against Frosinone is Serie A's bottom club, Salernitana, who traveled to Turin on Thursday. And Allegri, who has been in charge for 4 of the club's cup successes, is aware of the opportunity that awaits the team, who have not lifted any silverware since 2021. He says...
years.
Yes, and he follows up by saying, the Coppa Italia, it means a lot to us. It always has. That applies even more so this season, as we're only competing in this competition and in the league. So we must do everything possible to get to face Frosinone in the quarterfinals. Anything can happen in a knockout tie, as we saw with Napoli and Inter both getting knocked out. The early stages of the Coppa Italia may not interest everyone, but there is a trophy at stake. Losing or drawing a game at this club can be almost a catastrophe, and which is exactly why we give our all to progress. That is what is great about being at Juve. Thursday's opponent, Salernitana, have won just 2 of their last 18 league matches this season. And the teams will meet twice in 4 days as they face off against the league, but Allegri has all eyes on the cup fixture. He says
I
tomorrow.
think that's what worries a lot of people, though, isn't it? Though
I think there was I don't know if it's going to, I don't believe it's going to show it here, but there's a comment that was made and people are losing their mind. Again, it's a press conference, people. Chill the hell out.
why? What was going on?
Expectations. So let me see if it's in this. Yeah, he had it tomorrow. We're facing a Salernitana team on the up. Salernitana beat Verona away from home and are well drilled. We mustn't underestimate them. We face them again on Sunday, but right now we're focused on the cup. When the tie is over, we'll turn our attention towards the league. It's always tough to win matches. The further you go, the smaller the margin of error is, so you need to be good in that regard. Allegri confirmed that Perin, Rugani, and Chiesa will all start in the cup clash, and he's undecided for the other ones. I still need to assess the rest. Kenan Yildiz won't play because he's probably playing on the weekend. When a young player is doing well, they get praised straight away. He needs to stay calm and keep working hard. I certainly send the best possible team out tomorrow. The stadium will be packed, so even more of a reason for us to win. And that's pretty much it from
Did
Go to the
somebody say Walgani?
Walgani. Will start tomorrow.
Oh baby.
I believe the Belgian guy Kunde is going to play, but I don't believe he is going to start.
No, that's what we are feeling. The word on the street, if you will. So yeah, I've been waiting patiently for his debut. We'll see what we get. Could be interesting. Now, I think it needs to be addressed. It was mentioned after the Roma game. Somebody kind of alluded to the Salernitana. It's just jokes in the chat more so, but we know what happened. We have a bit of a stigma with this team. Is it possible that we win both games cleanly? Like, does a shit show ensue? Is essentially is what I'm asking, because we've seen a couple disappointments in the Coppa so far. Almost saw it. I was hoping for another one tonight, but win them all.
So one of the things here that kind of caused some people to go up in arms. So Allegri says, as for favorites in the Coppa, anything can happen in a knockout tie, which we saw with Napoli and Inter both getting knocked out in a 38-game campaign. The best shines through, but anything is possible in a one-off fixture. So I don't I don't understand why people are freaking out about that, because guys, when is Allegri ever going to go out there and say, oh, we're the favorites to win this competition? Did I botch Kunde? Huh, interesting.
Yeah, I don't know. Conde.
Kunde,
I'm sure
Conte,
there's
whatever.
something like that.
Potato. So I don't understand why people are sitting there and it's like, who cares? Why are we looking at semantics? It's a press conference. People, chill the hell out.
People must still be on Christmas holidays with
I
too much time on
guess
their hands.
so.
They're on Twitter just hating things.
Allegri didn't say we're favorites in the Coppa Italia. It's a one-off fixture, man. Roma nearly got smoked by Cremonese today. Chill.
I bet you they're Canadians as well, because we got knocked out of the World Juniors hockey there, so now they got no morning sports, so they just morning hate on Allegri.
Could you imagine if Allegri says, hey, we're favorites to win this competition, and then they get shut out 1-0 by Salernitana, and then everyone's going to be like, look at this guy talking like an idiot saying that we're favorites and they can't beat Salernitana. I don't know at this point. It's just guys, tranquilo, por favor.
So good. You're always going to have those.
Relax.
Yeah. So, I mean, we do have the back-to-back, but Salernitana, they haven't looked the greatest.
Terrible.
They were worse than last year. Now, that being said, any given Sunday, like Allegri said.
Yeah, they lost their Lord and Savior, Ochoa, and now they're not the same team anymore.
Frankie's loving hockey now. Why? Because America won? You guys usually do pretty good anyways.
Well, no, he loves it because he's making money.
Oh,
Frankie's
right.
been doing a
He's
parlay.
betting on it. He's probably not even watching the games. Do you even know? Do you even hockey, Frankie? Let me know. Maybe you're from the hockey part of America. You want $200? Decent. All right, we're not promoting gambling, guys. Come on.
First question Colin asked Frankie, how much you up, bro? So, like, this game is going to be quite simple. I don't see anything crazy. I think it's going to be, in my opinion, I think Juve should steamroll. I think they're going to get a goal or two and just coast. I don't expect them to, pepper 30, 40 freaking shots on net. I think this is going to be maybe a 12 to 13 shots on goal kind of match, and then that's it. And it's kind of interesting because they haven't even released the projected lineups for tomorrow.
There's always the newspapers that predict. I mean, we can predict ourselves, I think, from what we've heard. But yeah, it's a Coppa match. There's going to be heavy rotation. He's going to take things very much game day, game time situation. Who's feeling it, because it is a turnaround, and this is the management of it, right? So he has said that he wants to come out and win this because you never know what happens. I mean, you lose one in the league, you can kind of recover. You lose tomorrow, that's it, you're done, right? So you have to come out. Now, if you come out super hard tomorrow with a team like Salernitana that doesn't really have that depth and not a team that's really designed to play every 3 days, you can then come at them on Sunday, even though you might be weakened and worn out from that attack. They should be even more so battered down just because of the power imbalance, right? So that's what I would hope to see. But that's also a bit of a gamble at the same time, right? Because if it doesn't pay off, now you're knackered for the second game. Say you pushed hard, got punished, you lost the Coppa game. Now you got to face them on Sunday, but you're just completely knackered because you screwed it up essentially, right? You screwed up the tactic. So that's kind of how I see it going down. I hope, obviously, for the former, where we just smash them hard tomorrow and then just continue rolling on Sunday. But Dash, how do you feel about the back to back with the same team? You don't see it often,
No, you don't really see it that frequent at
unless
all.
you're playing FIFA. Then it happens like twice a season.
I think this is like, for example, obviously we'll talk about Hoisin in the tinfoil part, but like this will be a game where you're able to rotate and you're able to put those guys in. I don't know, to be honest with you, because it's like, obviously this is me one of those games where they're going to give Juve the ball. I don't believe Salernitana is going to play with the ball at all. Like, it's going to be, them 10 back the entire good chunk of the match. So I don't have that much of an expectation there, but I think, and part of me is thinking, and I don't know how true this is because like there's no projected roster for FOTMob, and then it's only what you'll see on Sky Sport on Twitter, X as they call it. But I think Colin will probably be in best spirits for this one because the projected starting midfield trio is Nicolucci, Locatelli, and Moretti. All three are starting with Chiesa.
That's an all Italian. Yeah, there's a lot of Italians showing up tomorrow.
Yeah, so then you have Chiesa, Perin, Rugani. So you're having 6 Italians on the pitch all at one time. This one was interesting. I don't know how true it is, but Sam Illing is projected to start over Kostic in this match.
I can see that. Yeah.
I don't.
If you're not gonna rotate, like, this is when you'll see these rotations. When else will you do it? It's a round of 16 Salernitana doubleheader. Like, you got to do it. And I think we're going to see it.
I wish maybe it'll happen. I don't know, but Luis Hassa gets a call up, but I doubt it.
That's going down. Yeah, it's going down the list a little bit.
Yeah, it is. Well, I mean, apparently I can't pronounce what is it? Nonge? Nonge, or yeah, because it's not with a hard G. It's just a nonge.
It's more French.
Yeah.
So, I haven't heard anybody like a commentator or anybody.
Well, yeah, because he's never played, so we haven't heard him.
Yeah, so it's like you trust whatever some asshole on YouTube says.
Well, the last time he played was that friendly against Arsenal.
Nonge. Okay. Nonge? Is there an accent on that E?
I guess there is.
Let's look up his name.
Nonge.
Joseph and
oui. It's kind of the French side of the Belgium.
But if it was French, it would have an accent aigu.
Yeah. Tal says nonge.
Okay, well, nonge. I would expect an accent aigu, which is pronounced nonge. So put an accent on it, maybe. and I'll say it right.
And then Vlad says
But
Beppe
now I know,
pronunciation.
so thank you. Thank you for correcting our pronunciations once again. Because
Yeah,
but
so
I mean
Vlad,
that's getting nitty gritty too, and like
Mr. Vlad.
pronunciations of like international. Yeah, it's getting there.
Mr. Vlad says Beppe pronounce it like Nonge.
No, Jay.
So he is not being started. He is not starting, but I would be shocked if he does not get a couple of minutes. And Frankie, your wish will come true. Rugani is projected to start. So you will see Daniele Rugani post engagement. And then Colin says Beppe is the first and last resource.
Well, he is Belgium, right? So I mean, you can trust that because Beppe is Belgium.
Yeah, he lives in Belgium.
Yeah, I mean, sure. That's
Yeah,
why
yeah.
you listen to the native speakers
Yeah, I
always,
was gonna say
right?
he lives there. I'm pretty positive he knows how to pronounce it. So he is live right now. So shout out to you over there. So yeah, in reality though, I think this is gonna be exciting for the folks that want to see some younger guys come out there and feature. I know, and this is a little bit confusing with what's going on with Hoyson, but like I think Hoyson might actually play because they're not expecting him to leave until mid-January. So as you know, I've always stipulated that Juve always do January transfer business the second week of January instead of like the first 2 weeks or so. Like after the second week is when they start moving stuff. So there's an opportunity that you'll have a back three of Rugani and Hoyson. I don't know who I think Danilo would probably be the other person that starts alongside them. But that midfield three of Hans, Miretti, and Locatelli will be interesting. We'll see if Hans plays as the 5 and if Locatelli plays as a Mazzala. If Locatelli doesn't dominate as a Mazzala, I want to hear all of those people that kept saying Locatelli's an 8 to stop saying that after that because he should dominate a Salernitana midfield. But that's just me being petty. But looking at it from there,
Because I'm a
Belgium.
language nerd and I like to learn these things. It says down here, it even gets into Quebec French, which is a bit of a travesty. But yes, basically what this article says is they put at the end of their like E's an A, like in Nanjay. Apparently that's the Belgian accent. That's how you do it. So there you go. We learned. Let's move on.
All right. So Sartha is asking if anyone lives by Kingston in Ontario. I don't.
Close enough. Yeah. Couple hours.
Colin does.
Colin would be even closer than me.
And then Frankie says, got to rest our defenders. They have been going 120% every game. Vlad says, hit me up when you need.
Vasilij Adjic.
Pronunciation.
Adjic. I think we got that one too.
Mr. Melon de Awa says, do you think Moretti on loan is good? We don't know if I don't believe he's going on it. I think
we
it
don't
would
know
help
anything.
him.
I don't think anything's happening, but
Nothing's concrete. If anything, it looks like Palladino wants him at Monza, but
I wouldn't be against it.
I wouldn't be against it.
We have to be careful with.
I think we said it
we
in
move in our midfields because depth.
Yeah, and I think we also covered it in the day after. But overall, though, it's going to be obviously a 3-5-2. I really don't expect much out of Salernitana because we're playing at home, and it's been solid. I do want to see if Dusan plays, and he needs to get on the score sheet this match.
Yeah, that's the interesting thing. Is it going to be Milik starting? Yildiz apparently isn't starting, so
no, Yildiz is being saved for the weekend. I think Yildiz has cemented himself. But the one thing I find interesting is just kind of, and I'm going to throw it out now as a prediction. I don't think we're playing in a back three next season.
You're on that train now. We'll see. We'll see how the how the rest of this season goes. If it develops into anything, if he stays hard on a 3-5-2, I mean, we'll know with what off-season moves he makes at that point if he'll move away from that. But it takes a bit of tinkering. Anyway.
It does. No, it does for sure. I don't see it happening this season, but I see the pieces coming together for a switch. But kind of like Frankie says, this is a good game to get Vlahovic going. I think so. I can understand if he starts Milik first and then moves on to Vlahovic in the second half. That makes, proper sense to me as well. But I do think that it's crucial. It's crucial in regards to that where he needs to get some goals against some easy opposition. I really do think like during the league, even I'm gonna hold it there against Salernitana on Sunday, because you got to get a goal against those guys. Like you need to.
Mhm.
You got to start feasting on this easier competition. Now that it looks like you're starting to get your feet back and your feet in stride, now you gotta take it up a notch, right? Now you're starting to do the off the ball movements and the reads. Now let's get you in to start scoring more consistently.
You'd hope there'd be a bit of space. They're likely going to low block. We know that, but just being a weaker team, you would like to think you can find a bit more space than you would on any given Sunday
Well,
weekend match.
you should be able to manhandle their center backs.
Yeah, he
Colin said,
should.
oh, sorry.
He should.
Colin says, does that mean Bremer gonna go? Allegri doesn't like the 3-5-2. No, I think Bremer is going to learn to adapt because, like, for example, if Bremer wants to, and Bremer's already, signed, essentially air quotes, signed that he's going to play for Brazil, Bremer needs to learn how to play in a back four. He has to.
And it doesn't mean that if we change from a 3-5-2 that we're changing from a 3 at the back.
I think we changed from 3 at the back.
But it doesn't necessarily mean that.
It doesn't, but I do think next season we're not playing in a back 3.
See, again, I want to see more personally.
No, that's fine. Yeah.
There's,
No,
enough evidence as of yet to say so.
I have a hunch just due to how Bremer's been
feeling it.
playing.
You're just feeling that bulge, are you?
It's not the bulge, but like you can tell how Bremer's playing. It looks like he's a lot more comfortable being able to be that kind of player. But I could definitely see it.
This agenda started basically like when he showed up.
When he showed
Even
up
beforehand, yeah.
Bremer said back then, he said, I struggled with a back 4. He's always that was something that came verbally out of Bremer's mouth like 2 or 3 years ago.
Why does this come up every so often?
Don't say that by Italians. Don't say that by Italians.
I mean, like, there's so many messed up versions of pizza out there. People put whatever the crap they want on pizza. Most of what we eat and call pizza isn't even pizza. So at that, like, what is it at this point? I don't care. If you like it, put it in your mouth. I'm moving on.
It's stuff you put in your mouth. Yeah, Frankie's late on this one.
The thing is pineapple apparently makes you taste better. So when you put that in your mouth or whoever's, I mean, it works. It works. It continues on. Gift that keeps on giving. I don't even know why.
And there goes demonetized. No, I'm
That's
kidding.
why I think he said it that way. And whatever, like, who cares? If you like it, you like it. It's just, I mean, if you're ordering up from a place, and this is the thing. This is what I'm getting at. Where I mean, most of what we say is pizza isn't even pizza. If you're ordering from a place that puts pineapple on pizza, it's probably not a good fucking pizza to begin with. Let's be honest. You're going to like a Pizza Hut or some piece of shit chain. You're already eating crap. What's the difference between eating this piece of shit and that piece of shit? It's shit at the end of the day. Go to a proper pizzeria and put a proper pie in your face. All right, let's go. Let's move on.
And Vlad hits us with the $1 million question. Would you rather put ketchup or pineapple?
100. Pineapple's like a real thing. Ketchup is made up bullshit. All right. That was easy. Okay, so that's the pregame.
Yeah, that's pretty much the pregame. There's really nothing there to cover, right? Like, it's just there's not much.
And we'll readdress it anyways for Sunday.
Absolutely.
All right, so while Ghani's gone, we'll see him again tomorrow.
All right, Dave, do you have the first article you want to go over for tinfoil? Because everything was.
No, we're doing the midterm. We're doing the midterms.
Oh yeah. Do the midterms. That's right. I totally forgot.
Press B. Marker created. We're putting chapters in, guys.
Yeah. Timestamps. 2350.
Yeah, it's happening. We're gonna get better at trying to do the chapters, especially on these shows that are multifaceted. So midterm report card. Vlad, thank you for the picture. Artificial intelligence, thank you for like filling in the rest of the picture so it's like a full frame. That was AI that made the rest, like the whiteboard and stuff.
Yeah, that's
I put the text in.
Ooh, fancy.
Yeah, it like generative fill from Adobe. So thank you, Adobe. And thank you, Vlad, for giving me that idea by posting that in the Alex Jones section of our Discord. That being said, we're going to keep it simple because we have a lot to cover and we're not going to go through every single player. We're going to kind of do it like the FIFA ratings, right? Defense out of 5 stars, attack out of 5 stars, and then we'll poke out. Why am I poking things out? We're gonna pull out 2 individuals each, most improved and MVP for the first half of the season as well, just so we can single out a couple people. But Dash, let's go. Let's start with the goalkeeping. How did we perform this year?
4.5
A solid 4.5. Eh?
out of 5, right? That's
out of 5. Out of 5 stars. That's actually really good.
I think so. Outside of the Sassuolo game, like I don't see any issues that we've had goalkeeping wise. Like I think Tex made great saves in games that we've needed him to. I don't.
Has had a couple. There was a couple moments. I think he might have gotten burnt on one. Can't remember off the top. I do know there was a couple fumbles, which he is apt to do. We haven't really seen Perrine at all, so it's all been Tech. We'll see him tomorrow. We'll see Perrine tomorrow.
Yeah, I think the goalkeeping it's a strength. I think. Granted, I think the back line is, instead of 5, they're, in my opinion, a 6 out of 5 because they've essentially covered any shortcomings that Tech would have because they've just been really good. Yeah. Right?
4.5. That's good. I mean, I was just going to go with a good old 4 because it's just been solid. It hasn't been like over this top. We haven't given our goalkeepers very much work in a lot of cases, right? So I think it's one of those situations that just because they've had maybe an easier time, they haven't earned their 4.5. So I just kept them at a solid 4. But regardless, we're looking good. Goalkeeping done well. And guys, let us know what your rating is as well. We'll do, and you can throw them all in at once, right? So goalkeeping, defense, mid, attack, and then most valuable player and most improved. So you can throw all those in if you want. We'll shout them out. And Sarthak asking, would you say that a cappuccino is only a morning drink? Traditionally in Italy, it is. The reasoning behind that is because in Italy and Southern Europe, they're more prone to be lactose intolerant. So if you are like me and I'm Calabres, my genes, right? So like I'm definitely lactose intolerant. So yeah, it's that whole thing that if you're lactose intolerant, but you have a cappuccino, you want to have it earlier in the day, because if you have it later in the day, then you feel like shit. If you're Norse or some like pasty person that can drink milk all day and not be affected, it doesn't matter. But if you go to Italy and ask for a cappuccino after 11 o'clock, you might get some dirty looks. That's all I'm going to say. I don't care. I use lactose-free milk, so I can drink it whenever the fuck I want as well. It's easy. Science. All right, let's move on. Defense.
6.5. Mine's 6 stars, 6 out of 5. Backline's been phenomenal.
Shit. 6 out of 5.
Yeah, no, it is. Their backline's freaking phenomenal. Like, honestly, Dave, like they've scored goals, they've decided matches for us, they've kept us in matches that we shouldn't have been in theory, or like, for example, they've stifled. This back line is essentially stifled out some of the best offenses in Italy.
They have, but they have also made a couple mistakes.
They have, but at the same time, the
Sassuolo game, I mean, that was one
game out of 18.
If we had 0 goals conceded this year, I would say, okay, 6 out of 5.
I still think they are. No, the reason why I'm saying 6 out of 5 is their offensive contributions. No, it is.
Because
they've essentially
because they've overperformed.
They've locked out. They've locked teams out while also getting game winners at the same time.
That's true. That's actually kind of hard to. It's like you found the gray area in the rating system here. You see.
Yeah,
you broke it open.
The pros outweigh the cons. Negative Nancy.
Oh man,
and then Vlad even says A+ if Sassuolo hadn't happened.
Yeah, I mean, I was gonna go with 4.5, like damn near perfect.
For me, it's.
But yes,
my
when
biggest
you say
thing is the offensive contributions. I have to. Defending, yes. If you're looking at it from just the scope of defending, I can understand 4.5 stars. But for me right now, this back line has scored more goals than any other back line in Europe. That to me is an additional point.
Look, Colin, he's just media took name called negative Nancy. I just didn't think of it from that perspective.
Yeah, Dave.
I had to wrap my head around that idea.
Yeah, use your noggin, Dave. What are you doing?
Idea. I mean, this is why we have a conversation.
Unacceptable, Dave. Do better.
Called myself a negative Nancy. No, I was just appreciating the nuances of what I was doing.
All right. Do you have anything you want to? Do you have anything you want to state for the defense, or are you good with the defensive report card?
No, that's good. Let's go into the midfield.
You want
This
to
is
open up
where,
with midfield?
yeah, we're moving up the pitch.
Go for it. Do your rating first, because I went first for the first two.
I mean, I guess in one sense, two of them have completely failed. So because you like throw a wrench and say the defense overperformed, you can almost say that the midfielders underperformed with 2 suspensions and like give them a 1. But I'm not going to go that way. I'm not a negative Nancy. What I'm going to say is those that are still around, so everyone sans Pogba and Fajoli, has stepped it up and has tried to make it work. Have they been the best? No. But have they showed up week in, week out, especially guys like Locatelli, Rabiot, and put in their shift and put their hearts into it and their blood, sweat, and tears and all of that? Absolutely. But it's looked bad. It's been the weak point.
What's your number? Did you say
Okay.
2?
No, it's a 3.
3? Okay.
It's a 3.
All
Right in the middle. It's they've done enough to redeem the negatives that have come out of it.
So I'm gonna agree with you and say that I have it as a 3, but my logic's gonna be different here. So for me, I'm not gonna throw in Fajoli and Pogba as kind of like negatives, because that's off the field, right? That like obviously them not being there affects the production and whatnot. But for my rating,
like Wanda and Icardi, that's off the field, but that affects his on the field performance.
Yeah, but these guys are completely off. Like they're not playing, right?
No, I know, but they were, and they got okay, whatever. It's your rating. You do it.
Yeah, I know, but I'm saying like that's the logic for mine. And then the other thing too, and people can argue with me on this one. I was just about to say, Vlad, I'm counting the wingbacks in my rating because essentially it's a 3-5-2, so they're classified as midfielders because they're both up and down. Essentially, they cover both areas. So I'm counting Kostic, I'm counting Cambiasso, and I'm counting McKennie. My logic for the 3, I think, like for example, with Rabiot's slow start to him having that consistent production, I think the resurgence of McKennie. Kostic has kind of been the same. Cambiasso's been awesome. The reason why I'm giving it a 3 instead of a 4 is just their lack of being able to play through the middle. I think that's going to be one of my my harshest ratings on that. And like I want to say, if we're going off a letter system, I would say B, upper B to lower B plus. Just because, like, for example, I think Rabiot, McKennie, and Cambiasso have been carrying the midfield in a sense to where they need to be. But, like, for example, Meretti hasn't been really there. I think Hans had a great cameo when he had it, but then we haven't seen him yet, so we'll see. Obviously, I'm not, throwing Hans into the trash bin. It's not how we do things here.
No.
Kostic, it's just like, I know what we're getting out of him, but I wish we just had more. Like that's what it is for that. And it's just like you have a couple of things that are weighing it down. And then, like, for example, Loka is great at just facilitating the movement, but Loka isn't the guy that's taking the midfield and moving through the middle. And I give him a 3 just because of that lack. If they were able to make some chances or create some opportunities and push them through the middle, I could rate them a little bit higher to a 4, but I think because it's average. 3 in theory is technically average, right? It's middle of the road. It's not bad and it's not good. I think that's where I'm going to keep it.
Yeah, we're in agreement there.
If we're able to keep the wingbacks as like their own position and rate the wingbacks, I would say the wingbacks are an A in my opinion. I think the wingbacks outside of Kostic have been
I think the right side's an A and the left side's a C, and it like evens out.
Like it's like I think Kostic has done well for what he's doing, but at the same time, it's just you need more, right?
Yeah.
So I think that, and then last but not least, we got the front line.
Yes. Before that, have you heard of Eurocentrism?
Nope.
Where like Europeans just think everything's all about them. So Vlad's here asking why an American and Canadian are using European system grades. I didn't know 5 stars was exclusively European. I'm sorry about that.
I thought it was a scale of 1 to 10 because I thought Europeans grade instead of like A, B, C, D, they grade 0 to 10. I didn't know they use 5s.
I'll be sure to give you all your stars back once we're done with this show.
I thought I was the petty one. You were just absolutely petty today. That's fine.
Yeah, I know. I'm being a dick.
So yeah, go with your frontline rating.
This one's tough. because I don't want to be too rough, but I think it's deserved of it. 2.5 stars, enough to win games, but my lord, good thing the defense is at apparently 6 stars because the offense would look like a 1 if without them essentially.
I'm gonna go and give it a 1 star.
Just straight out of 1,
One,
screw them. All right.
one. No, seriously.
I'm just trying to not to go like full hate on them, but Dash, I guess I'll let you cook on this one.
No, so for me, I'm giving it a 1 is because 1, availability, garbage. Availability has been garbage from them. 2, consistency, garbage as well. Those to me, those are 2 traits that I value quite highly, is because you're there all the time and you're able to perform all the time. And I'm not expecting a 10 out of 10 performance every single game. I can't, like, for me, I don't like a 10, a 1, a 3, a 6, a 3, a 4, a 10. Like, I'm not good with that. I
Very consistent.
need consistency. You need one guy to be consistent there.
Yep.
And like, for example, Chiesa, hey, he hasn't been the guy. I think that's a fair statement to say at this point. He's not healthy all the time.
He's been average.
He's not healthy,
Not
which then that
healthy.
plays into his availability.
None of them
because
have
he's
been
not-
healthy. They're
Yeah.
all like the same level of availability essentially.
Well, and because he's not available, he's not able to build momentum and get steam.
But
Same
all
thing.
4 of them. Not
Same thing.
including
Yeah.
Gildas.
Same thing for Dusan. Same thing for Keane.
Keen Millik, they've all been out at some point.
Like, I just, for me, it's the weakest link is those guys right now. Like, I really do think it's those guys. I think Yildiz, obviously, we've only gotten a 2-game sample size. I think Yildiz will probably bring their stock up at the end of the season.
Yeah.
However, look, Chiesa isn't, I understand we all have that kind of lover boy thing because Chiesa is easily lovable, but like at the same time, dude hasn't produced. He hasn't.
No, none of them have, and that's the thing. I think that's why we're rating so low. Vlad's giving them a 3, just a C rating.
That's generous in my opinion.
Yeah, I think it's a little generous. Again, they've done enough to win, but that's only because our defense has allowed us to maintain that.
Everyone behind them is performing.
Yeah.
And then KB wants to know what the weakest link is. It depends on what your scope is, right? So like if you're looking at your scope, the weakest link, do you mean the guy that's supposed to take the ball forward and move the ball forward? You can say it's Chiesa, but then if you want to say the guy that's giving you the end result, it's Dusan, right? Like that's pretty much how you would look at it from
And you can
that
say by
perspective.
performance, Millik's the worst, but he's
Barely plays.
worth pocket
barely-
change,
yeah,
right?
he-
So, and that's why this gets messy. This is why we're not going into individual ratings, because we would be here all night just doing that. Because like, oh well, he should be performing at this level for this amount of wage and for this transfer sum, and oh, but he's been in. Oh, like no, stop it there.
Like it's the same thing with Keane, right? Like Keane just unfortunately isn't at 100% fitness. It's availability, and it's just the issue is we have a revolving door of unavailable players in the front line, where it's just one has a nagging injury, one has this, one has that, one has this, one has that. Where it's like Locatelli's played with bad oblique and rib, right?
Yeah, he stopped for a week because the doctor told him he has to rest up essentially.
Yeah, and like for example, Rabiot is playing consistently until he gets suspended with a yellow card. McKennie, the same thing as well. McKennie with a thigh bump essentially, and apparently he's good to go. Cambiasso as well, like all Kostic too. Like everybody outside of Chiesa, Dusan, and Keane have been generally pretty fit.
Yep.
Like injury wise, we have not
It's
had
been
any
good.
issues.
It's
Knock
been
on
good.
wood.
Yeah. Overall,
Except for those 2 guys. Like that's like your 2 centerpiece, and they're both essentially, if you add them together, their value is about 150 million, right? Those guys are just not doing well. And I understand, I get it now because Vlad is saying they perform well in weeks 1 through 5, but that's why he gave them an average. It's just after that, they just kind of like
I'm looking at like 5 goals after 18 games for being a world-class forward. It's not cutting it, right? And if most of those goals came in weeks 1 to 5, that also shows that inconsistency. It's not like, oh, I know he's going to score every third game. It's like he's going to score 3 today and then nothing for the next 2 months.
Well,
So
and then
like that's almost worse, right?
it's like, again, poor penalty takers. Like, he's a poor penalty taker. There's a lot. It's just that front line is really underperforming. Like, they're one of the things that I think some folks don't understand is how lucky we are that everyone behind them is willing the team to wins.
We're almost lucky in a sense that we have Allegri terror ball that will lock in defensively so well and allows an underperforming offense to still get the job done.
Because the reason why I'm a little bit harsh on the front line is we went 7 games without a forward scoring. 7 games. That is not good.
Oh, it's 2 months.
That is not
almost
good.
2 months without a forward scoring.
Like,
And unfortunately, like I would love to count Keane's disallowed goals, but I don't think that would really bump up the score overall. You know,
I don't think so either. And it's like, as much as I've been a fan of Keane, at the same time, like, I gotta hold him to the fire when he's not producing, and he's not, right?
and his rap isn't even that good either.
Yeah, we listened to it. It was pretty poor. Sorry,
Like
Bones.
if it was good, like if it was like dropping some beats hard, and I was like grooving, then sure. But
So-
it's just like modern mumble rap that nobody cares about.
I think the last person, right, is going to be Allegri.
Oh, we're
Star-wise.
going down on Allegri, are we?
Yes.
Okay, let's do it.
I'm going to give him 4. 4 out of 5. The reason why I'm giving him 4 out of 5 is he's essentially, outperformed, right? Like, he is outperforming what the team's metric is. And I'll show you guys, because I actually have proof of what they expected Juve to be at and where Juve is at. The reason why I'm not giving him a higher than a 4 is because his substitutions sometimes piss me the hell off. Like, his substitutions, sometimes I just sit there and I'm like, what are you doing? Normally, to be honest with you folks, I would give him a 3.5 just because of the substitutions, but I'm going to be a little bit more generous with that half point just because he's above average right now. He's not excellent, because if he was excellent, obviously, certain things would be going a certain way, but I would say giving him a 3 or a 3.5 doesn't really kind of scope what he's been able to accomplish. But at the same time, where he's built a solid foundation, great locker room atmosphere, the whole essential culture that Juve was missing, like, he's got that. But at the same time, his substitutions to me sometimes perplex me in a way where I'm just kind of like, that's the thing that's keeping me from giving him a perfect rating.
Okay, so Vlad's giving a 5.5 out of 5.
And I
Going
understand.
for 4.5. Yeah,
I understand those. I understand it.
It is overperforming in a sense, right? Because he's taken this team, and like I said, they could very well be in first if it wasn't for a couple of bad calls, right? So like, that's how thin. Like I'm just trying to emphasize how tight this title race is. That yes, it's 2 point, but in reality, it's probably like half a point between the two teams. So he's taken this underperforming team, but he's also brought them up through the ashes from last season as well. And now that he's had a bit of backup with Gentoli and a more stable landscape around him, he's now really been able to get that team cohesion out. So like, yes, if you want to just talk about straight on the pitch, there's a couple things that are still to be desired. Substitutions, although I found he's been doing a little bit better this season overall. There was a couple moments for sure. There's definitely a couple. And yes, I mean it's a sight for sore eyes, the football. I get it.
I see. That's not my issue, right? That's not where I'm, because I understand what the football is and how it is. I don't really care that much for it, right?
No,
Like,
but that's where like the half point is being left for me,
yeah,
right?
for me, it's just more so substitutions and adjustments in game. I think that's one of the things that I've sat there. I'm kind of like, huh, it doesn't make sense, and it's kind of dumb. I mean, in the grand scheme of things, right? He's done what he needs to do. So there's obviously that, right? But for me, like, I think that's the one thing that I need to see a little bit better from Allegri is essentially his adjustments, his mid-game adjustments. Because that's one of the things that I haven't seen in Allegri 2.0 from 1.0. But obviously that's going to be one of those things, right? And Vlad says, I'm not sure how many coaches would make this team fight for Scudetto without transfer market and your two main guys up front underperforming. No, that's true, right? Like, that's one of the things that we've given him flowers for.
It's just I'm not gonna I'm not in the business of giving like over 100% for things.
Dave is a
because
hard person to please.
Because okay, what's over 100%? So 100% means you did absolutely nothing wrong. 116%, what, you cured cancer at the same time? Like, what's better than perfect? That's the way I look. I know people have their own metrics. I'm not trying to put people down for how they're doing it. This is, I mean, we're just having fun. This is how I'm rolling. No, I'm not. I'm not gonna give. I'm not gonna give more than they deserve. Hard ass.
Vlad says, don't forget, this is one of the best statistical starts in Serie A, which is the perfect time for me to share this for you guys. So these were projected point totals for Serie A. So we have the actuals, and I should probably make this the same as I did.
Oh, you're on the Reddit.
I am on the Reddit. I found this on Reddit.
Dark corners.
All right, cool. All right, so you have your expected and you have your actuals here. So if we scroll down, Inter expected to be around 38, Juve expected to be around 35, Napoli at 31, Atalanta and Roma within that space to round off, Milan at 28 with Bologna with 27. So if we look at the actuals, Inter's at 44 and Juve's at 40, but this is without the previous match week statistics as well. So Inter's at 47, Inter's at, I think it's, they're at 45 and we're at 43. So we're actually 3 points ahead. So we're actually closer. This gap is closer.
Okay, so Vlad wasn't actually giving a 5.5.
Oh,
all right,
he's just doing it to piss you off.
I thought you Balkan types are like, we do stars, it's out of 5, and we're gonna give you 5.5.
So Milan, so there's obviously a sizable gap. So I mean that there alone, Juve is essentially 10 points ahead of the expected versus the actual. Dave says, "How y'all beauties? We are good."
Yeah, we're having fun.
So if that's any detriment to what Allegri has done, I mean that's phenomenal. And obviously, I want to also, because people say, "Oh, he's not in Europe," and yada yada yada. It's like, come on, when are you like? I always see that argument now where it's like, well, he doesn't have Europe, so he should be doing well. And it's like, okay, you're missing 2 of your best creative midfielders. Like, come on, people.
They're not happy.
I just, do those people just like, are those like folks that live in just like unhappy lives or sexless marriages and that just feel like shitting on everything?
Yeah.
They're like, oh man,
Often
he doesn't have Europe. That's why he's got his best statistical start in Serie A ever. With a Chiesa and Dusan with 11 goal contributions in 18 matches. Like, come on now.
They're probably the guys that yell at the other team's coaching during house league games.
Yeah, they're that, and then they're like, "See, we should get Salernitana as coach."
Oh man, we got the German going tonight. Look at this.
Colin says, "No, I'm pretty happy I got laid a few days ago."
That's why he's being less grumpy.
That's why he's not grumpy. She must have gave him a sloppy toppy like no other. Like his whole mind has just been exposed to the universe and the flow of things because of the top.
Well, good for you. I'm happy for you.
The Gluck 9000. High five, Colin.
All right, let's close this segment out. Most valuable player. Actually, no. Let's say that. Let's do most improved first.
Most improved goes to McKennie.
Knew you were gonna go for Mac, which is a good call, but explain.
Oh, why?
Yeah,
what
why?
really need to explain Mac?
So, well, for the people, I know why.
The return of the Mac. I would play the song, but we would probably get copyrighted.
He just goes silent. It's like, you need me to explain this?
Yeah, do I need you to explain it? Just whip it out there. No, so reason why I think McKennie's evolved his game as far as an understanding of tacticalness or using his field IQ, I think McKennie's field IQ has gone at its really damn good pace. McKennie knows where he needs to be, how he needs to get there, what he needs to do, right? McKennie has essentially found a way to overcome his technical weakness. Because everyone was saying that McKennie's not a technically gifted player, he's not an artist, and blah, blah, blah. So McKennie said, F yo crap, I'm going to figure this out and do my own thing. So McKennie's, one of the things that McKennie has and that a lot of like old school Juventino appreciate is grit, physical tenacity, and toughness, like Edgar Davids, right? Like that is one of the things that Dave the pastry posted is living rent free in my head.
I think he means German Dave, not me. Did I miss it?
Oh yeah. German Dave posted it on Instagram. Like he made something. The German Dave, he make us a good pastries, very good.
I like pastries.
He gives the cake. He works out to the gym to make the cake, and then he bakes the cake at home.
Yeah, I started working out honestly like years ago, because I was just such a fat kid, and I still am. So I work out so I can eat. I mean, that's
I love how we're talking about cake when we're covering McKenny at the same time too, which is just funny.
Chipotle. They
Chipotle.
must have a lava cake on their
They
dessert
probably
menu.
do, for
Yeah.
all we know. But yeah, I think McKenny's essentially evolved his game. He's officially playing as like a top league player. I think his dynamism, his ability to invert into the midfield, outvert into the wingback role, it's awesome, man. Like McKenny to me is one of the most complete wingbacks / midfield adjustment wingbacks, whatever you want to call it right
Kinda
now.
does it all. Yeah.
He can do it all, cover it all, play good defense, set a cross into the box. He's able to interact with Cambiaso and Timmy as well. So, look, man, I think Weston McKennie gets my nod for most improved.
All right. So, because I knew Big Mac would be the easy one, I'm just gonna do this as like a very close second because I do believe
Vlahovic.
Max. Shut up. No. But I'm going with Gatti.
Okay, that's a good one as well. I think
Because
he's improved.
he's a very, very close second, I feel. And where I think he might be on an even playing field in terms of where Mac is at, that yes, Mac in terms of like actual on the field performance has really stepped it up. Not to say Gatti hasn't, because he kind of plays as a midfielder, sometimes an attacker. He's able to adjust up and down the pitch. I mean, he just got thrown in from Serie B last year. I mean, Mac as well. He's been to Leeds. He bounced around a bit. So they both had not the most consistent few years to say. So that's why I think maybe now that they're finding some of that consistency, they're both popping up. But for me, in particular with Gatti, is and I'm speculating here because I'm not in the locker room, but I feel that his like locker room presence and his on-field presence, that grinta, and again, not to say Mac doesn't have it, because he does, but there's just something special with Gatti when it comes to that just aura around him, the way he presents himself.
Yeah, Zora is so good it makes Fajoli ask for $40,000.
It was 10.
Was it 10? I thought it was 40.
It was 10. Come on, guys.
Allegedly.
Okay, so then we'll finish off on the most valuable player. Cambiaso, yeah, Cambiaso is a
Rabiot.
good call.
Rabiot.
Rabiot.
I think Rabiot right now, currently at the moment, I think Rabiot is the most valuable player on the pitch.
That's so. Hard to. It's really hard to say.
I think
otherwise.
Because the reason why. Shit, Gompacho brought a good one.
There's so many, and this is hard, right? Because like I'm changing my mind as well as people throw up their opinions.
Well, you can use Bremer. You can talk to Bremer. I can talk to Rabiot. I think Rabiot, as far as from the midfield going forward, I think he is the staple point as far as the leader of the bunch, which I think he's taken that over Chiesa, because Chiesa hasn't shown, and to me, Chiesa hasn't shown the maturity of being able to step up and be the guy.
Oh, no.
By judging how he was at the New Year's Eve party with Bernadeschi and them, I think that confirms my suspicions that I don't find him as a mature adult yet, which is fine. But I think Rabiot, because like you look at the difference with how Rabiot conducts himself, carries himself. I think Rabiot is the unsung leader of the front line, essentially, where he kind of organizes it, and you can kind of see. You can see how Juve are without Rabiot on the pitch and when he is on the pitch. And I think, and this is going to be an unpopular opinion, but I think Juve need to figure out how to convince his mom to let her baby boy stay in Turin as long as possible until he can't play anymore.
Maybe. Who knows? Yeah, I mean, Bremer, I want to say the MVP is the trio of Bremer, Danilo, and Gatti / Lugani. You know, like,
if you're going to give one of them a nod,
yeah. So you really do have to pull one of them up, right? Because it's not fair to just pick 4 people.
I understand. Like, for example, I think if we wanted to be honest, like, and then he says Dash half the team was that. I know, but I'm saying like I saw
how he was dressed and presented.
It was really weird. It was like super weird, but
it was an oversized T-shirt.
There's a T-shirt with like Bonneville and glasses, and then Bernadeschi was there with the champagne. Hey, Juve, take me back, please, take me back. I want to come back, Juve. But yeah, like for example, with Bremer, I think Bremer has been pocketing defenders all season long. Like, I mean, Lukaku couldn't even score. Like, Lukaku couldn't even touch the ball at all that game.
It's true. And, you know, for his stature of who he is, what he does, he's at a fairly reasonable price as well. Rabiot goes for a bit of a premium for what he is as well. So even from that perspective, Bremer's kind of better at the value perspective.
Well, see, the question is, though, we haven't actually seen the back line without Bremer.
Yeah, does it fall apart like when Rabiot's not in the midfield?
Like that's going to be something that I'm going to be interested. So, like, for example, if he does not play, if Bremer doesn't play against Salernitana, that'll probably be a good way to have a measuring stick. But
the fact that we don't know what it's like when he doesn't play, is that not testimony to how valuable he is?
Because has he missed a? I'm going to look it up on this, but I don't think he's missed a game this season.
No, wasn't he out for one? He had a muscle strain, I think. Did he not?
Possibly.
Oh, and that's going back to the beginning of the season now.
So I'm gonna see if I can look that up real quick, because as far as recent memory goes, I don't think I've seen him miss a match. No, 18. He started 18 matches.
Did he?
Yeah.
So that must have been last season. I know he got a knock at one point and did miss some games, so it must have been last season.
Yeah, I don't think Bremer's missed a game.
So there you go. I think we've all convinced me of who my MVP is. It's going to be Gleason Bremer. The fact that he's starting 18 out of 18 and just pocketing some of the biggest, most worldly strikers in the league.
Yeah, and the person that's second, and then the player that is second as far as availability goes is Rabiot, who has started 16 out of 18.
So there's our picks, Rabiot and Bremer. Love it. So on that note, it's time for the tinfoil.
Let's do the tinfoil hat show.
The tinfoil fat show. Let's go.
Tin fat show. All right, cool. What do you got, Dave? You open it up.
This was just shared by Vlad, so I'm gonna bring this up.
Oh, when Gigi wants it bigger.
Yes, for Mr.
I want it bigger.
Buffon. So interesting here. I'll try to get the text a little bigger if you want to read along. Betting in itself is not a crime. However, this is a very sensitive issue. I think it is wrong to criminalize and not to make distinctions. The stadiums themselves and sports broadcasts are full of app advertisements of this kind, and the state encourages gambling. If, on the other hand, a footballer bets on football, he faces punishment, and rightly so. But if he bets on volleyball, basketball, dog racing, he is not committing a crime. And it gets worse when people talk about gambling, again, missing the point. Gambling is not a problem of how much you spend, but of the time you devote to this activity. And we have to explain this to children. It is not that if you make continuous €1 bets by spending hours and hours in front of the app, then it's okay. Whereas if one spends 1 million on one occasion, then he's a gambler. We can say he's a moron. Okay, it just comes out like that. We can say he's a moron, that's fine, but the disease stems from the addiction, the continuity with which one does something. So he makes a pretty clear distinction there, right? It's the habit of it. It's not how much you're necessarily spending. It's the devotion to the habit. So very, very interesting. Coming from Buffon, who might know a little bit about that, perhaps.
Right. Possibly, right? Well, I don't know, right? Because, like, for example, it seemed to me like Fagioli was a chronic gambler.
That's what it comes off as. Like he has like a legit problem,
like a chronic gambling history.
Or that's how they sold it to us at the very least.
Well, yeah, I think that's what they did with Tonali and all of them as well. Which, ironically, it was just Fagioli and Tonali that got busted.
But we have seen through history how people can be protected. Michael Jordan is probably the most famous example. Watch the documentary if you don't know.
The Last Dance.
Yeah, Last Dance. Check it out. Cool story. Very cool story. Or just like, you don't have to watch the whole series. You can just Google just the Michael Jordan. There's a reason why he played baseball for a couple of years. Let's just say that. All right. David asking here, just quickly to go back. Do you think Bremer's developing into an 80 to 100 mil defender?
I think he's there at this point.
How much would Man City pay? Is I think the question, right?
I think it's how much would Man United pay, and I think they would easily pay over 100 for him.
You think
because
that
it's Man
much,
United.
eh?
But like Bremer is essentially everything that we wanted Delit to be.
Yeah, just more, if it's true, a back three defender instead of a four. But we're not gonna go back in that circle. Oh man, I'm just looking up transfer market. Yeah, still at 50 for Bremer. I think he's been there for. He was
For a while,
valued at 40 in 2023 at the beginning of the season. So his value's gone up from 40 to 50, but we paid 50, I believe it was. Let's see, 35 fee 44 plus whatever bonuses they don't tell you. Yeah, so it was 50ish.
Yeah. So this other news, if you want to pull up transfer market, Dave, because you have your screen sharing so far, Winsley Botelli is something that Giuntoli has started talks to bring him onto the squad. So he plays for the Borussia youth team. He's got 17 goals in 15 matches.
He is quite the hot name right now.
Yeah. Center forward. I don't believe that he would play on the first team. I think he would go to next gen first and then come up.
Yeah, at 17, absolutely.
Yeah, because he's in the under 19 Bundesliga West, so that's the equivalent of the Primavera for Juve.
Yeah.
But he has been absolutely killing it, and I think, which is like I'm a little bit confused, right? Because we buy him, and then it's like you have all the forwards that we currently have. Does that mean that we're moving, or Juve's anticipating moving a couple of forwards? But like that doesn't make sense with Moise Keane's contract renewal.
Okay, so we know for sure they had to replace Yildiz in the next gen.
Yes.
Right?
I think that's what Adits is.
That's Adit.
For.
So now we're looking at another
Striker.
center forward. Now, okay, the question starts to be posed. Who will we moving on? I can see Keane, unfortunately, maybe going back to France or somewhere like that. I don't know. That's all a bit of a guess, but yes, I would say somebody is going to leave. And if it's somebody like Keane, then that's a perfect opportunity for an Adic or Botelli to come next year, perhaps, and take that fourth or fifth striker role. Maybe. I don't know. How do you feel about that?
Possibly. I don't know. I wouldn't see him. The only time I would see Botelli move up to the first team would be after next season.
Yeah, he'd need like a good year and a half, even.
Unless
he's like amazing.
Yeah.
If he's really a superstar in the making, then like he's coming to the first team next year at 18. That's doable. It's the thing. But I haven't seen him play. I don't know if anybody else has.
I think David would probably be German. David would be the best one to ask.
But that's like asking me if I know anything about Sudatrol. You know, because I don't.
Yeah, and David's right here. So and then Colin says if that's quick, that'd be incredible. David says at some point Milik will leave, and maybe at the contract renewal, Keane is to keep his value stable so his contract doesn't run out.
That's a good question. How long do we keep Milik around?
Yeah, I think the only time Botelli would come in is once Milik is on the way out, where I think that's when you would see if Botelli progresses correctly, he would move up to the first team.
So we're looking at a year and a half's time more than anything.
All right. So the next article that we'll cover, brought to you by Mr. Colin over here. One Football, 5 moves that Juventus could pull off in the transfer window.
It's just, of course, they got Bernardeschi on the front, right?
Come on,
man. It's just it just screamed clickbait to me. This kind of stuff. But anyways, let's
come on. All right. So it says, well, we shouldn't expect any fireworks in January. Juventus will be active on the market, making some adjustments to the squad. La Gazzetta dello Sport, Giovanni Albanese discusses the 5 potential moves that the Bianconeri can pull in the winter market. So he begins with the Dean Huijsen's anticipated move to
Frosinone.
Frosinone. I don't know why I can't say that for some reason right now. The 18-year-old has made a brief cameo against Milan so far, and the management is looking to send him away on loan to gain some valuable Serie A experience. However, Jose Mourinho has called Dean Huijsen and said, you should come to Roma. And apparently now Dini Boy doesn't want to go to Frosinone, and Juve told Roma to respectfully F off. And no, we're not giving you him. Because that would be extremely stupid. Because why would you send a promising youngster at the arena where you blow your ACL out?
Yeah, I don't like that idea. Frosinone, honestly, you got all your buddies there. That's where you should go.
I think if anything, if he's going to leave, I think he should go to Frosinone. I don't think, and Juve's not stupid to loan a star pupil to a direct rival, in air quotes, direct
Yeah.
rival.
And there's something that should be noted with Roma as well. They are limited to $1.5 million in terms of transfer spending in January.
Because they have a
Because of-
negative net value.
Yeah. UEFA has come in and sanctioned 1.5 mil. That's it. So now you hear even Smalling and Spinazzola could be on the chopping block to make some space. I don't know if that's something they'll do in January. That'd be a little bold.
Talk about
But that is why they're looking at things like Hans for like a super cheap loan deal. That's where they're at right now.
Yeah, but think about like how much of a failed project that was. Because 3 years ago they brought in Mourinho, they brought in all of this, and like, oh, we're gonna go and bring Roma to a consistent top four. They have not finished in the top four since Mourinho's been there.
East Coast Americans in Italy and their
Like,
ideas.
It is ridiculous how poor, and that's why apparently Palladino might be Roma's next coach next season.
That would be interesting. That's a big step up. I'd like to see that.
They're eyeing Palladino to go to Roma, which I think is a natural ascension for Palladino. If
Yeah,
Palladino
going from
wants
a
to move up.
shithouse Monza to a shithouse Roma, absolutely.
Yeah, like I think that would be a good test, and that's why I would have loved to see De Zerbi do, but he never did that.
That's true. I mean, that is something. The Conference League.
That is.
It's silverware. I'll take it. I mean, if we won the Conference League last year, I would be happy about it.
Yeah, but they only got like $5 million in prize money.
Yeah,
for
I know.
winning it.
It's Conference League is really meant for those like Romanian teams and
super-
those secondary countries, if you will.
super
Not calling those countries
second-class
football.
citizens. Is that what you're saying?
Football, in the footballing hierarchy sense, guys, please.
So yeah, I think that's just that whole Rome thing's been a fraudulent project, and that's where it's going to be interesting, right? Like for example, I want to see Palladino go to Roma. I want to see Italiano go to a Lazio or a Napoli or something like that, because there's a different level of prestige when you go up from, when you go from a Monza to a Juventus. That's just a huge jump up versus when you go from a Monza to a Roma or a Lazio, and then you go from them to your topper tier. Like, you look at Simeone Inzaghi. You can like the guy or not like the guy, but started off low. And I think he coached at Salernitana at one point, I think, Simeone. But then he goes up to Lazio, and then he goes from Lazio to now where he's at Inter. Same thing with Allegri. Allegri started off at Sassuolo, and then he went to, I think it was Catania, and then I think that was one of the teams he coached a team that started with a C. And then he went up to
there was a really small team.
and then he went up to Milan after. Because there's a natural progression scale that these coaches go through, and that's
Coiopelli in 84-85, Livorno, Pisa,
that's his
Livorno,
point.
Pavia, Pescara,
Dave,
Cagliari,
Dave,
Perugia,
Dave,
Padova,
Dave.
Napoli, Pescara, Pistuesi, Eliadesi. That's his
his
senior
point
career. I
That's his point
screwed it
career.
up. Okay, let's do it again. Agliadesi, Spal, Grosseto, Cagliari, Milan, Juventus.
Yeah, so he went from Sassuolo, brought him up, and then he went to.
I know you were stopping me, but I was just like, I was on a roll.
I know, I see. But yeah, like there's a natural progression. That's why I always tell people, relax with the whole Monta being the next big team coach or Italiano doing that. Let these guys follow their natural progressions, let them develop, and let them establish themselves as coaches. All right, that's my coaching TED Talk, and now I need to get back to this.
Yeah.
All right, so going back to the article here. So the third potential transfer concerns Sule, who has been one of the main revelations of the Serie A campaign at Frosinone. Bianconeri are reported willingly to sell the Argentinian if an offer goes above 25 million euros, which I can understand because that is a hell of a plus Valenza.
It's decent, yeah. It's
Uh,
hard to say no when you get
it's
into that money
it's
range.
very, very difficult. And then raising transfer funds from the young winger could allow Juve to purchase Coop Miners, who remains their preferred profile in the midfielder role. However, the
Is
Atalanta star,
it?
yeah, he's just too expensive. He's 40 to 50 million.
But I
So
thought, I don't know. I've just
what
I've
you
heard
think,
so many
Hoiberg?
different things, right?
No,
It's like, how can
Gintoli.
you come out and say,
Well, it's Albanese. It's his opinion. It's not Gintoli saying that Coop Miners. It's Giovanni. It's that guy. I mean, he's just saying that.
I don't like when people come out so definitively on things that aren't definitive. But whatever.
He says
That's
it's a
me.
preferred profile, Dave. It's not saying
Yeah.
it's the preferred guy. It's just his skill, just traits and attributes are what they're looking for.
But
And
that like hasn't. I don't know. He comes up like once every couple weeks. That name, right? Like that's the thing. Like, why did you? Yes, he's a profile, but so is Samardix and so is Thuram and like how many? Even this one guy. How many names has this one guy thrown out? And now he's going in with one just to make an article. Screw you.
I don't think we've heard anything from Thuram for a while. And I think
No, but I haven't heard about Coop Myers either for a couple weeks.
yeah, it's an opinion piece. I don't think it's something that we need to really look into it. And then
yeah, it's an opinion, but this is why I hate opinion pieces because they're like because they present it like it's fact, and if you don't know it's an opinion piece, well now you're duped essentially.
I mean, it's the wording. It's
yeah, I don't like it because I can see through the bullshit, and I'm calling it out. I'm just calling it out. Let's move on.
All right, finally, the old lady could reunite with Federico Bernardeschi, even though he'll probably travel with the club for the rest of the season as the club mascot if he doesn't get a contract at this point. As a short-term fix, the winger would cherish the opportunity to return to the club and occupy multiple roles in Allegri's 3-5-2.
You know, and I still believe Berna could be something viable if they want to use that profile like that because it would cost next to nothing.
So it's a 6-month dry loan. I think that.
Yeah, it would be so cheap, and it's like he's not horrible. If you're talking about, it probably cost him a few $100,000. I don't even know like what they would be talking about to get him for 6 months, but I can't imagine they're really going deep in their pockets for that one.
I don't understand where you would put him.
But that is a question like that, and that's why I caveated with like if you decided that he was a profile that you needed, but I don't think he is.
And he also played in MLS last season too, so it's just kind of like he's like that one Uruguayan defender we brought back for a little bit in like 2019, Caceres.
Yes,
Caceres.
he still just bounces around the league.
Yeah, like you brought him back for like 6 months and he just like played a game or two, and then you're just kind of like, what's the point of having him?
It was a depth piece. That's all he was there.
Yeah, it's kind of like my thing. How I feel like, don't get me wrong, I feel like we would get a bunch of internet content for Bernardeschi coming back with half the stupid shit that he would do, but like at the same time, just kind of like I don't see the added value of Berna being back.
No. And that's why it's probably still BS. It's just strictly on if it's like pay 500,000 for Berna and we might throw him in to play left back in a Coppa match against Salernitana kind of idea. You know, like that would be what you do. Because you're paying Pinsolio to essentially do the same thing.
It's just he's there for the memes. It's just there for the memes and the entertainment. Like there's not really anything.
He's just another Pinsolio.
Pretty much.
Yeah. Well, do you need another Pinsolio? Who knows? Maybe. We'll see. Yes. But yeah, I mean, it's still ridiculous. Ridiculous article.
Redonkulous.
Okay.
I think we need to talk about Felipe Anderson, right?
He can't. This is a today thing all of a sudden, Felipe Anderson.
Yeah, because that's been something, and this is kind of one of the things where everyone's been talking about the formation change, right?
Yeah. So, who's everyone? Because I find that it's just like certain.
No, I think it's a good chunk because when you're linked to Felipe Anderson, Dave, you're playing with a front three if you're linked.
But is it a chicken? Here's the thing: is it the chicken or the egg, or is it just like, again, because there hasn't been any news and journalists have to write about something, so they're Felipe Anderson, he might not renew his contract. Well, Juve need a midfield, and then they create this story. Like, which one came first? Is Juve going to change their formation and looking for a profile like Felipe Anderson, or are journalists just saying, "Oh, this profile is available," and now because we've been linked with him, all of us are saying, "Oh, well, if we're linked with him, we must be changing formation."
I don't know, because so let me see what I can find here.
It's just this Berardi over that duel.
Berardi over. So I'm gonna go with gold.com and see what they say, because I was a little bit perplexed with it, but they're saying that Juve have wanted him since last December. But obviously, Lazio's a pain in the ass to buy anything
Oh,
from.
absolutely. That's going to be hard regardless. Just
So it says from
those
Romeo.
bumps.
It is from Romeo Agresti here. So Juventus are reportedly considering a swoop for Felipe Anderson, who has been seen his contract extensions demands with Lazio knocked back. Probably wanted more money, and he said I only got $3. But Anderson has been a pivotal player for Sarri's Bulls this season, featuring in all 18 of their matches. However, his days might be numbered. His contract's set to expire at the end of the season. Juve are exploring the prospect of signing the 30-year-old as a free agent. The bigger picture, Lazio have presented the initial renewal for Anderson, which would see him stay at the Olimpico until 2020. Wow, 5-year or 4-year contract. That's fucking wild.
That's not a bad contract to be perfectly
3.5 million per season, which falls short to his the former West Ham's 4 million demands. Well, the Bianconeri have yet to make a formal move for him, but they're actively monitoring the situation and are evaluating the possibility of acquiring him without incurring any transfer fees.
And that's where it is, right? Like the headlines where Juve are interested, and it's the classic. Interested doesn't mean really anything. It's like, okay, we need midfield and pro. Oh, here's a guy in our own league that might be available. Yeah, that's interesting. Let's put his name on a piece of paper. It's like that's kind of where this is.
Oh, but no, this was reported from Romeo, though.
Yeah, they're interested. That's all it's saying. Like, even Romeo Agresti has to make an article. He's got to put a few lines in there. At the end of the day, interested doesn't mean shit. Like, read between the lines, right? Like,
obviously,
it's just another transfer rumor.
But
I hate transfer rumors, if you guys can't tell. They're all bullshit. They're all bullshit until, like, Della Valle 2 hours beforehand says Vlahovic is coming, and we get excited over fucking nothing.
I think the main thing is Giuntoli's an admirer. Giuntoli wants him. I think Giuntoli has an interest in him. He's a cheap option. He's a cheap winger at $4 million. Like, that's a ridiculously cheap price for a winger if he performs.
If
it's cheaper than Chiesa.
Yeah.
So, like, in theory, yeah, it would. But, I mean, it is a tinfoil, and Colin says it's a tinfoil head show. It's where we sound off a bunch of randos.
Yeah, but am I not allowed to put reason to the bullshit? Or do I just have to be an idiot and continue to perpetuate the retardation?
You gotta let it fly, Dave. Just it's a tinfoil hat show,
yeah,
man.
That means I can do whatever the fuck I want.
So right now, I think that's one of the things, and I don't, because if Anderson comes in, Anderson plays as a right winger. I don't think he inverts. I think he strictly plays as a right winger.
Colin, just because you got laid doesn't make you any less angry or in a position to say people are angry. You're still the angriest fucker around here, so sit in your fucking corner. No, be perfectly honest. For one, you've just painted your own picture with me saying I was a negative Nancy at the beginning when I was really just agreeing with Dash and exploring his opinion. So really, I think what you need to do is put on your tinfoil hat, because those goddamn alien radio waves are messing with your mind right now, man.
All right. So looking at his market value, so Felipe Anderson is, and I don't have my screen shared, unfortunately. So slapping that on there for y'all. 30 years old, right winger, 20 million, right winger, striker, left winger. Overall, pretty decent season. 1 goal, 5 assists in 16 matches. It's okay. Not bad, not good.
My question with it too, because we've looked at the 30-year-olds, right? Another 30-year-old profile. Is this what makes sense? Do we plug?
Yes,
Is
I
this
say
a
yes.
whole plug or is this a long-term investment at 30 years old?
No, I say yes because you need an experienced player up top. You don't have an experienced guy that can play consistently, that can lead your guys up top. You need a
Like,
veteran player.
yeah,
You need
I'm just not convinced with this one in
you
particular. I
need
don't think he's anything special.
I mean, it's the same thing that people thought about Danilo when he came over, right?
I guess, yes, it's true.
Because look, you need a veteran player up top because right now your oldest guy is there to ride the bench until retirement. That's kind of what Milik is at this point, where Anderson still has stuff to his legs. Anderson can still play. Look, I'm not saying this because I'm an Anderson fan or anything like that, right? I'm just trying to look at it from a technical sense from this. So with this movement and this kind of move here, I understand because Chiesa to me isn't a mature leader to lead the front line. Dusan is not a mature leader to lead the front line. You have Felipe Anderson who can create chances, move the ball, and play, pretty aggressive as far as a forward player. My only concern is with this move, because I know Allegri does not like playing with a back three. Allegri is a 4-3-3 or a 4-2-3-1 kind of guy. However, and Colin, I hate to burst your bubble, but it looks like Berardi is going to go to Inter because I think they're going to offer more money than what we are for him. Because
I don't know where Inter gets the money.
I don't know where they get it, but they probably sell their unborn children or something like that. But the Berardi,
They sell the female daughters to the Chinese because they just have a bunch of male children over there.
now that is a tinfoil hat statement right there. Look, I think with Felipe Anderson is you're getting an experienced player that's performed in Serie A and you're getting him for free essentially, right? The only thing that you're really going to have to fork over is that 4 million salary.
Yeah,
That's it, right?
it's not horrible financially. It's not horrible. It's just this is not really a profile I've ever really thought of ever. It's not exciting to me. I know you're putting logic to it, but just at an emotional level, I'm not.
Yeah.
I'm not there.
When you're signing veteran additional supplementary pieces, you're not supposed to be excited over them, right?
Yeah. And Tal here is saying it's not the radio waves, it's the chemicals in the water. You live in New York. It's both.
Oh,
You got the 5Gs on every corner and whatever leads in that water you guys have in that like 200-year-old pipe system.
you know what, Vlad? I was thinking of Luis Alberto. It was right foot. That's why.
Him,
So
I like him.
that's where I for some reason thought he was a right footer.
Oh, so you just got the mix. I like Alberto.
So Colin with Berardi. David says we can't only go with young guys. We need experience
Yeah,
in some
no,
positions.
for sure. It's just is this the one? Like I said, I'm so
Tall.
excited.
Tall bursts out saying Berardi's an Interista. They can F and have him.
Yeah, and I'm the angry one. Apparently, he's capital texting.
David says that's why I disagree with those saying that Cruz is too old. He would help us grow the young guy, give us performances for 1 to 2 years.
Cruz is a mutant, though. He's
Now we
different.
won't
He's
get
different
him,
level.
but we shouldn't poo-poo age and experience.
No,
Yeah,
but that's Cruz. That's
I think
motherfucking Cruz.
so. Like, right? He's at 20 million a year at Real Madrid. My only question is how much would we get for him here? Like, that's the one thing I don't understand. Like, I don't know for sure. And then Vlad says that's that one there. Colin calls him Douglas Costa light. I kind of disagree with that one because Felipe Anderson can actually stay healthy, or Douglas Costa can't.
Yeah, he's made of glass.
I don't think that they're. I mean, the only thing that they really have that they're similar with each other is I think they're both Brazilian. I think Felipe Anderson and Costa are two totally different players.
Okay.
As far as profile and style wise, I think they're substantially different. Look, you need a guy that's there that's consistent. As much as, like, for example, is Berardi better than Anderson? Yes, but he's going to cost you 40 to 50 million because Sassuolo will always do that to Juve.
Mm-hmm.
Like, Sassuolo to me is the most pain in the ass team to ever. If I could have, like, if there's one team in Serie A that I would never want to engage in a transfer with, is Sassuolo. I can't stand them.
More
Because,
so than Napoli or Lazio.
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. Because Sassuolo will tell you that I'm selling you the latest, greatest thing for 60 million. But in reality, the things Sassuolo are the definition of upscaling salesmen.
Fiorentina.
No, Fiorentina sells you dog shit and you're just dumb enough to buy it. No, Sassuolo are a pain in the ass because what Sassuolo do is like the moment they know that you're interested, like for example, they did the same thing with Inter and Fratese. Like, yeah, everyone's like, oh, Sassuolo is great to deal with because they give you 2-year loans with obligations to buy after it takes like 6 fucking months to negotiate with them. Like Sassuolo to me is one of the biggest pain in the asses to do any kind of negotiations with because Lazio and Napoli won't negotiate with Juve in general. They're just kind of off the table in general. Same thing with Torino, but we got lucky with Bremer. But I can't stand Sassuolo when it comes to transfers.
How many Mapai products do you come across on a daily basis in Canada, Colin? Like, I don't think I've ever seen one. Where you just being a dick. Like, screw it, I'm boycotting, even though they don't sell anything here.
David says Inter should go for him with another loan to buy obligation to run the club into the ground. Remember, they can't even pay the Fratese fee yet. Yeah, which is true. And then
Maybe
style products.
maybe Colin. Yeah, he does it.
Every
He
day.
does it with his industry. Is that what it is? Yeah, okay.
Vlad-
It's specific to him.
Vlad says Berardi will never go to Inter as long as Inzaghi is there. He can't play 3 at the back. Yeah, Inzaghi's the one coach that will never switch from a 3-5-2. I do think, and I really think it takes maybe one transfer window or two to really make that transition. But I'm telling you guys, don't be surprised in the next season and a half or 2 seasons. Don't be surprised if Juve do switch into a back 4. Like I can see it happening shortly.
Well, that would. Yeah, I mean, things change every few years. That's to be expected. I just don't. I don't see it this season at all.
It's not gonna happen. Well, yeah. Well, no shit, it's not gonna happen.
No,
this
but
season.
like again, there's so many people that have jumped on this bandwagon that were
Oh,
changing.
it's not-
It's like just simmer down. Like
Guys,
it
it's
happens
not-
at least next season.
It's not gonna happen this season. What you
Like-
might see is you're gonna see a 3-5-2 instead of a deep lying midfielder. They're gonna be more in the 10 role. That is gonna be the only variation. So, because I can't do it without doing it, I'm gonna get the board out and I'll show these folks because I think people need to temper their expectations on this season's formation change.
So
And
instead of like a 3-1-4-2, it's like a 3-4-1-2. Like that little variation of where that central midfielder moves up and down.
So this is where we're currently right now. So you have these guys that are playing a little bit up. This is our 3-5. Technically, it's a 3-1-4-2. How we currently line up. The big difference that people are foaming at the mouth for is going to be instead of being down here, it's going to be up here, and then these two are going to slot in down here.
Like
That's
it's a
pretty much what it is.
difference, but it's centered around the same general philosophy, right? You're just, and you know what? I don't even like this for our team. One of the reasons why we're doing so well is our defensive acumen, and Locatelli coming in as that 4th defender has been critical.
Well, with this, you're going to run the risk here, and this is where it gets confusing, right? Tactically, because when you switch this out and this is Yildiz, I'm sorry, just McKennie's going to play as Yildiz here. That means you're relying Rabiot and Locatelli to be your pivots on the bottom, and then that's it. There's nothing back here.
Mm-hmm.
So, like, if something happens like that, you can essentially get exposed quite badly in a sense, right? So that's going to be the main difference. But for that to happen, for that formation change to be permanent for the second half of the season, because I see Allegri trying it in a game or two just for shits and giggles, but for it to be a staple, Yildiz has to be playing out of his mind.
And you would need, like, who else plays that position consistently?
Outside of Yildiz, nobody.
Yeah.
Unless you want to give Moretti the shot, but
and that's the thing. So you have maybe half a depth prospect in that position.
yeah.
So you would have to go out and potentially make a move.
You would
yeah,
to fill that slot.
Maybe like a Keane for I don't know, whatever, attacking midfielder, Sam or Ditcher. I mean, there's so many different random names. Berna. There you go, Berna. Put Berna in.
Yeah.
He could. I guess technically he was a cam before he. Yeah, like back in the day, he was originally a cam. Yeah.
No, you could, but yeah, that's going to be the main formation change that you'll see this season, if anything happens at all. Next season, this is my prediction. Obviously, these players are going to be in a different lineup, but next season, I'm going to anticipate that we start shifting to something like this. Let me move you over here, move him up here, move this here, do this, adjust, bam. and slap this around here. So I'm, if anything, really from what we have currently as players, I think this is what I'll anticipate for next season. Though obviously the player names are going to be mixed up a little bit, but
4-2-3-1.
with the roster that you have, I see this being more plausible. I see that happening more because then now you have essentially you have somewhere where Chiesa can finally roam three and not be obstructive consistently. You have a spot for Yildiz and whatever cam that you're bringing in as a 10. You'll have Fajoli here, or you'll have Locatelli, Fajoli, you'll have Rabiot that's going to occupy this spot at 100%. So the only issue is who's going to start here, Locatelli or Fajoli. But hell, you can even put Fajoli here if Yildiz isn't at 100%. And then here you'll have Timmy, and then you could potentially put McKennie there, or you could put McKennie down here. You can run Cambiasso and McKennie up here, or McKennie and Weah. You have different variations from this position. Chiesa obviously is going to be a staple up there unless something happens. Here you can see Kostic or another a left back if they're
Yeah, I
Illing.
think you need to buy a proper left back.
I would think you would need a proper left back, but here would be Chiesa and Illing if Illing remains, or even Sule could also fit here as well, or Sule
Yeah.
could fit in the cam role as well. So you
That's
have
true.
a lot more variations there as well, and that's where I think the end goal will be. Is it going to happen anytime soon? I doubt it, but because you're going to have a lot of like question marks, right? Where does Danilo go here? Like, for example, where does Danilo go in the back three? Because in theory, you want to start Bremer and Gatti, unless Gatti is able to, pull out wide, and then that opens up space for Danilo in the middle, right? So there's a lot of questions that come into it. I think the main issue that you're going to have before you do any kind of concise formation change is how are you going to organize this back line? That is going to be the biggest thing that's going to hinder any kind of formation adjustment is these back four. Because you have Danilo, because essentially you have to bench between Bremer, Danilo, and Gatti. Like one of them is going to get benched when you do that kind of a change. That's why currently this season I don't see it happening. Another season after I can see it because one of them can drop off. It's possible.
Yeah, there's a lot of tinkering yet to be done to move too far away from what we have right now.
So I don't know for sure what the end game is, but I'm anticipating something like that because Allegri always likes his solidarity, and when you have his solidarity with his pivots like that in a 4-2-3-1 more than a 4-3-3, that's it. Modern game doesn't put up with the classic 10s. The best advice I could give to Yildiz is to develop into an 8-10 hybrid. So many natural 10s did. Yeah, that's pretty much what he needs to do. I think
I wonder though, because we've seen the shifts, right? Like how far down the road until the number 10 comes back, so to speak, Like is that an evolution that we'll see again at some point?
Yeah. Possibly. You never know. But I think that's going to be one of the main staples, right? Where certain players developing, and I can't, and obviously Felipe Anderson comes in, he would play where Weah would be as the right winger. But I don't know, to be honest with you guys. I think the only formation variation that you'll see is you'll see the deep lying midfielder go into more of an attacking one if there is a change like that. But right now, team's playing well as it is. Don't change it.
It's not broken.
Don't change it.
Yeah, and that's why I don't think we're getting anything crazy right now because it's not broken.
I think it's just depth signings, honestly.
Unless, it's going to be a bunch of youth guys. Unless something comes out of the woodworks, who knows? There might be a surprise, but I honestly feel myself that we're trying to bide our time as much as we can until June, and then make those proper signings. Because let's be honest, January signings too are typically rushed. You're not getting exactly who you want, and there's usually a premium.
You're filling holes. Yeah, you're filling holes.
Yes.
Like
So
in
it's
January, January is like the trade deadline in other sports, right? Where you're competing for something or you're trying to do something and you need a couple of additional pieces or additional parts in it. Sal is officially a member for a month.
Nice, thank you. There you go. 1 month in the bag.
I love how we don't actually market the members thing.
Members.
Yeah.
Become a member As little as
That's great.
$1.
Yeah, you donate $1 a month to the channel so you can see more amazing content like this.
We made it real easy. Like it's just $1. You could give us more, but
Yeah, you could, but we don't ask for it. But dollar's fine.
that's the thing. Like you can never predict for. Did we think that the 352 that Pep Guardiola would be all of a sudden busting out 352s? I mean, things change. You just don't know. So maybe it's just a
And then
maybe. You never
Vlad
know.
says, I don't think so. I think the game is all about speed and fluidity. If anything,
what
a
I'm saying.
box midfielder with double tens is becoming a staple. David says, I think we need one great 1v1 defender to put next to Bremer that can work and think. The main question is, can Cambiasso play as a fullback? Because he will give us at least one. At least we still need 3 more of them, which is true.
Yeah, that's my biggest holdup. Is I mean, yeah, McKennie might be able to. You bring Burna back as a left back. I don't know, right? Like there's so much tinkering that you really got to do.
Yeah. And then Sal just said, I needed to flex real quick. Don't mind me.
It's probably
I think
checking himself off in the mirror.
And then the last thing, and then Sal says it's funny how a 3-5-2 is now hipster choice since Pep is using it. I know.
Is anything
No.
hipster if it's from the Premier League?
David says the amount of players we would need for a 4-man defense, we can't do it the next 1 to 2 years with our finances unless we sell and liquidate a couple of assets. Then it's possible, but I think that's going to be the end result because say that Allegri doesn't continue in 2 years or so, that coach is going to shift the team into a 4-man. Unless
Santoli is going to find like some left back 16-year-old from Mauritania and slot him in, and he's going to be the next superstar. It'll be fine.
I think the one thing is it looks daunting now, but I think with a couple of players developing and a couple of players that come into the roles, some adjustments and some movements per se, I think it's closer than most people think it is. Obviously, I know that it's not there, but it's only a matter of time. And the reason why I'm saying it, so like for example, Vlad says we're already kind of playing a 4 at the back if you think about it, which he's right?
Because we drop into like a 4-4-2 kind of defensive.
In a way, but like whenever Juve build, they always build. So like for example, you'll either have Kostic or you'll have Locatelli that's assisting the back. So normally it's going to be like this. So Juve always build in a 4-2. So you technically have 4 players back. So Loca will be here, and then like you'll have your players out wide here. So let me just do this for shits and giggles. So normally whenever Juve build, it's always a 4-2. So Chiesa's never here, obviously, but there's going to be 2 players that assist you in the build. So you'll have these 4. Oops, marker's not working. So you'll have these 4 here, and then if you're going on the left, those are your 2. If you're going on the right, these are your other 2. So Juve essentially build play out of the back with 4 players because Loca always drops in as the auxiliary center back where he's playing in the direction. So normally, whatever position Locatelli is playing, generally that's the direction that Juve want to build out of. However, to stop predictability, Allegri has entrusted Danilo to facilitate the ball on the left here. So technically Danilo is going to be your main ball moving back on this side, and Locatelli does it on this side. Sometimes he'll alternate with Gatti, and it'll switch out like this, where Gatti does the build and Locatelli plays a little bit here. Or like, for example, McKennie's covering Gatti. So there's a couple of variations. So that's one of the things that I'll give Allegri nods for is his innovation with how to build out of the back with a 4-2. But if you're looking at it from the initial read from it, how Juve normally do it, Danilo or Locatelli will have the ball, and they're going to facilitate a triangle between these players here. And then usually Dusan is supposed to come in the middle, and Chiesa is supposed to get behind with it there. And then it'll be essentially your build-up from that aspect.
It's also when we're getting countered too. That's where I really notice when Locatelli slots in centrally and just becomes a 4th defender. And hopefully you have Rabiot or McKennie kind of doing the box to box thing, trying to like, I want to say back check because I'm Canadian, of course, but why is there no footballing term for back checking? Jesus Christ, we've been through this before. But anyways, yeah, like you'll see that on the break, Locatelli coming in makes a 4th defender essentially as well. So there's a lot of transitional play within our 3-5-2, which in a sense we are able to play a 4 at the back, but are we able to like build from the beginning? Like what am I trying to say? Not the build up play, but from our initial positioning, right? We don't have that true four at the back. It's something that we move into on the transitions, whether it's like building up or dropping back, but never in like the static state, if you will, if that makes sense. Am I making sense?
I think so. I was reading David's comment. So,
Oh, this one here.
Yeah, so or let me just try to get context here because I'm having a hard time understanding what he's asking. So he says even then it has to be that one. Yeah, obviously it's going to be a gradual. It's not going to be a sudden
Yeah.
change. It's something that they're probably currently working on right now as we speak. Or we do the modern way of playing a center back on the left or right, move Gatti to right back with Cambiaso or McKennie, and then Hoyson on the left with maybe Cambiaso. Yeah, that one, it depends, right? It depends on the mobility of the player. Sometimes what they'll do is they'll do a back four with 3 center backs. So then they'll essentially be, so that's an interesting take, right? Because there's some teams, and I think Guardiola sometimes does this, but like what they'll do is like, I'm going to run it like this. So Weah is going to be my right back for this graphic here. So what it'll be is you'll have Weah that's in an actual right back. You'll have Bremer, Gatti, and then Danilo's your fake left back in a sense. So then your midfield, I'm going to do a 4-3-3 just to make it simple here. So you have a 4-3-3, and then what happens is, and I kind of need to delete all of you. Sorry, guys. Sorry, Roma.
Nobody cares.
Yeah, nobody cares, right?
Yeah, I'm not convinced if he can be turned Kostic. If he can be turned to left back, and that's the problem with a lot of these. Like, oh, move this guy here and that there.
You got to remember,
see McKennie just
not,
like figuring it out this year what he's supposed to do, and now next year you're going to throw him up as a fullback or something. Like,
so
it's crazy.
Normally in this kind of go, right? Like, for example, offensively, what happens when we're going into an offensive set is so these guys push forward, right? So they're moving forward. We have possession. We're moving forward, blah, blah, blah. So then what happens is they kind of slot in like this, and then Weah becomes the additional midfielder, and then you have your back three, right? That's kind of tactically. Allegri did that at one point before, where he had Chiellini, Bonucci, and Barzagli. Barzagli played as a right back.
We never. Oh, you're talking about way back. I was thinking last season.
No, not last season. So like you'll do something like that where it becomes a 3-4-3. So it gives you essentially the idea is to lock down the middle. And then what would happen is he drifts out wide, your striker goes here. So the idea is you're going to have multiple focal points where Loca becomes the main mastermind, where Chiesa and McKennie push up here. So you have this, and then he goes here. The idea is this is going to be one large diamond. So this is if you ever have to recycle the ball, you can recycle it between these 4 areas here. You have one triangle here, and then you have another triangle over here.
Oh, the whole thing's a triangle.
It is. It's a giant triangle because then these are all your passing lanes, right? So the idea is when you have all these passing lanes, and this is something that Guardiola likes to do.
It turns into a passing mesh.
Yeah, it becomes a passing mesh, right? So it becomes these are all your options here. So normally that's what people will do when they want to run something like that, but that takes a sophisticated amount of coordination and practice, and these players need to know where they're going to be at all times because obviously, look, you have all of this real estate that's open back here, and you're just one good long ball away from getting entirely exposed. Mm-hmm. Like I understand the offensive prowess of this, but at the same time, it leaves you extremely exposed, and that's when teams are playing with that false back, essentially the false fullback.
Again, it's great when you're Guardiola and you have the most expensive team in the world and you can push up that high on that really high line. But for
he's
99,
he's not doing that well though this season with it.
No, I mean, how much do we want to throw shade at him after coming off in treble? But it has its weaknesses as well, right? And we got to remember it is Serie A. We play the best way for the league, I guess you could say. Yeah. The most effective way.
And then David says, I think Kostic can play left back if you say to him to concentrate defensively, but he loses all offensive contribution and he will turn it to Alexandro at some point. Yeah, I think honestly, guys, when it comes to Kostic, I think there shouldn't be an expectation of converting him into anything at this point. I think once his
He is what he
contract runs
is.
out, he's going to be on his way out.
He's 30. What are you converting him into?
Like I don't see him being converted into really anything. I just think because, like, for example, we didn't touch it, but Galatasaray and Fenerbahce are interested in him. So I think it's going to be a point where Juve just look at it and say,
Yeah.
okay, it's time to move him on.
Give me 10 mil or something.
Yeah.
Yeah. I can see that and just open up some space for somebody else. It's going to be very interesting. Like, I think right now, this January is going to be boring. Nothing will happen. But we'll sit down in June and it's going to be nuts. Like, it's just on like simmer right now. And it's going to come into like a rolling boil come June. June, July. Deep into the summer anyways. All right. I don't know. Was there more?
No,
We're here for the next few days.
Yeah, we're gonna be back tomorrow. So I think this is a good spot to cut it. I don't think there's really anything there that there's anything left to really cover, right? I think we're good.
No, well, I mean, this is the tinfoil is just bonus, anyways.
Yeah.
We do what we want, right? whatever content. There wasn't as much content this week. You guys slacking? No, but it has been overall a somewhat quieter week relative to the past few. I mean, we've had some good weeks, really. We've been lucky. So it was a good week for it to be quieter because we got the pregame, we got our grades thrown in there. I got the bookmarks, so I'm actually going to put actual bookmarks in the video today. I promise. I swear I'm going to get it. Just be aware because it's live. YouTube will have to process it, and then it'll be like tomorrow when the bookmarks are there, but they'll be there.
Yeah. Alrighty. I think it's time to hit the music and see everybody on the way out. And those that are playing tonight on Pro Clubs, hop on tonight at Pro Clubs. Tonight, promotion.
Game day tomorrow.
Yeah, game day tomorrow.
I mean, play tonight with the boys, of course. Or if any girls ever want to show up, it's a bit of a sausage fest. But
yeah.
I will be sitting here tomorrow at 2:50 p.m. Eastern time. Talking to you guys again. With Dash?
Yeah, I'm here.
Not working.
I'm not working.
Not working. Perfect. So we'll see you tomorrow.
So yeah, all right, everybody. Thanks for tuning in to the super show of the midterm report cards Coppa Italia pre-match in the tinfoil hat segment. So again, obviously, like, subscribe to the video if you want to be a member and donate to the channel, so we can be bales for all this equipment and fun jazz. You have your three options. Obviously, all we ask is for 99 cents. Not really that much. But anyways, guys, we'll see you on your way out. And if you're still looking for more Juve content to binge on, obviously Beppe is still streaming. He is doing a Juve talk where he's just talking about certain players and transfers. So shout outs to our good friend Beppe over there. And yeah, guys, we'll see you tomorrow.
Can't wait. Coppa round of 16. See you there, guys. Good night. Forza Juve.